Okay, with the hour being 7 o'clock, we have a full quorum. Open the January 18th meeting. First item, minutes. Anybody want to make a motion?
Motion to accept?
Okay, there's a second. No questions, comments? All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Next, why don't we get the inclusionary? That's an easy one. We got to vote to sponsor this, because we had a straw poll. So I'll make a motion to sponsor the inclusionary article that Selectmen have asked.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussions? None? Being none?
At this point, we're just voting on sponsoring it?
Yep. Yeah, so what will happen here is, I guess we'll have to go down and get the articles, give it to them, and then they'll send it back to us for advertising.
Okay.
You know what's said, John?
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor? Yeah, all those in favor of sponsoring?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain?
Okay.
All right, we have 4, 0, 1.
Oh, abstain, Phil? Oh, yeah.
No, John.
John.
Okay, thank you.
All right, can't do that. Well, hearing, but, all right, next one, we'll bang right into the MBTA. Phil's giving us an update.
Yeah, just want to give a quick update on it. So the committee's been meeting for a couple of months now, and I see Patrick is in the room here. So everybody knows, right, that the MBTA law, the MBTA community law requires any MBTA community, which Walpole is one because we have a commuter rail. We've been apportioned out that we have to change our bylaws so that we allow by right up to 1,506 multifamily units. Doesn't mean that they were to get built, but we have to allow zoning that would allow by right multifamily dwellings, and it's within 50 acres. We've been, based on the way the law's been passed, those are the requirements. So we've been allocated that amount of land, and it has to be within a half a mile of the MBTA station, although there is some, it doesn't all have to exactly be there, but that's what our proposal is. So Patrick's been working very hard on this, and he presented a proposal a couple of times. There's been a lot of good discussion, and I'll just give you a little bit of a sense of what it is. And again, this is still in draft, and it may change, but basically it would be to create a multifamily overlay district, because that's one way in order to change the zoning. It would include 2 sub-districts, and the idea for that would be that one sub-district would allow units or buildings that could be 3.5 stories high. I'm sorry, yeah, 4 stories high. 35, yeah. And the other one would be 2.5 stories. So it's sizing. You can correct me though, Patrick.
I was just going to say, the steering the board. Hi, it's Pat DeShanes. Nice to meet you or see you. The steering committee that's been working on this project has had their first public information session in November. Had 2 follow-up working group meetings. Right now, they're looking at a draft bylaw and map amendment as Phil was describing, proposing doing it as an overlay district with 2 sub-districts, one of a higher density and then the other as more of a lower density, kind of like a transitional district to provide more of a buffer between the town, the core of the downtown and then the surrounding neighborhoods. So put some pretty good thought into it. We have a revised draft, so the draft's already gone through initial review and editing, so looking to continue the process as we go forward into the spring.
And it's pretty well concentrated in the central business district. So again, it's putting the multifamily units in near the MBTA station, near our commercial district. And, and as Patrick said, there's going to be some changes, some updates to the draft, but that's the main focus of it. So that would allow us to be compliant with the law, and also will help Walpole because we'll get more of the housing in the downtown area.
All right. How many units do we have to put up?
So we have to allow zoning that allows 1,506 multifamily units. So again, it doesn't mean they'll ever get built, it just means that by right, if a developer bought one of those parcels of land, and they could build a multifamily house that could have that, depending on the dimensional requirements, they could build X number of units, but the way that the dimensional sizing is done is that taking all of the parcels in this area, if they were all built out, and again, each parcel might be built differently depending on how big it was, it would be a total of 1,506 units.
On 50 acres?
It's just 50 acres?
Yeah, is that what you said?
Well,
You said 50 acres?
50 acres, yeah.
So
And
that's-
it's also allowing for, multifamily developments, and there's a separate set of requirements for that. So it would be residential mixed-use development. And in those developments, 10% of the units, after 10 units, would be affordable.
All right, so this is a new 40B type.
Although we have control over it, because we're creating where it is and what it looks
No, I
like.
understand, but what I'm
Yeah.
saying is this will go against the 40B count.
Yes, it will, yes, that's right. It adds to our subsidized inventory. Yep.
Anybody have any questions on the MBTA stuff?
The number you gave, that's additional units? It doesn't count what we already have?
So it just changes the zoning. It doesn't matter what's already there now. So it's not really saying what has to be built or what's there now. It just says that by zoning, by this new zoning bylaw, for a particular parcel, regardless of what's there now, if you built it out the maximum to what the bylaw allows, you could do N number of units. And if all the parcels did that, it would be 1,506 units. But again, someone would have to buy a parcel if there's an
They'd have to
existing.
buy it, and if there's something there already, they'd have to take it down.
Take it down, and, yeah. So it doesn't mean that this will ever happen, it just means that it could happen over time,
Okay.
yeah.
Anybody else have any questions or comments? Okay. All right, we're all set there. We're almost at 10 past. Might as well go because it's not a public hearing, so anyway. With the hour being after, it's close to 7:10, although it's not a public hearing, it's just a regular business. We have a preliminary for Elm Street. You guys want to come up? You don't? Okay. All right, so everybody understands, we have it's a preliminary. That's not necessary under subdivision control, but it's encouraged, and it is a non-binding vote, and there is no necessarily public comment here because it's only preliminary. And so whatever's voted here tonight, up, down, or sideways, doesn't matter, because when they come back with the regular definitive, that's when the vote really matters. So with that being said, so everybody understands, have at it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and board members. Rick Goodrow with United Consultants, here this evening with Tom DePlacido and Jeff Roberson, applicants for the project. Project is located at 397 Elm Street, and the project consists of 3 proposed house lots, which would be serviced off of a new roadway coming in off of Elm Street. We would then be proposing common driveway system to provide access to the 3 individual house lots via a special permit process as we move forward. We have done a grading plan and some preliminary drainage calculations. We have shown catch basin collection system at the entrance into the roadway, into an underground infiltration system. For the stormwater system, we would be looking at individual recharge systems for the houses and have a note to that effect. At this point, we haven't got to that, but we wanted to bring the plan forward, get some input from the planning board. We have also requested 6 waivers as part of this, and the waivers are mainly for reduction in construction standards for things such as the streetlights, water and sewer system. Water and sewer would be via wells and septic systems. Street lighting, we propose to have individual lights at the driveway connection points and along the driveway that would be controlled by the homeowners. We've also asked for a waiver for the electrical system to be as required by the electric and utility companies. And we've asked for waivers for the roadway curbing to be berm curb, monolithic berm curb, as opposed to VA4 granite. And we've also asked for a waiver to not require a full development impact study, including traffic. We would be providing the board with site distance analysis at the intersection. We were really looking to avoid trip generation calculations based on the fact that it's really 2 additional house lots. There's 1 house lot located there currently. So those are a highlight of what we're proposing. We'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have. Thank you.
Okay, just so you understand, when you do the waivers, you still have to show us a plan that you can do it conventionally. And a lot of guys don't understand that.
Yes.
They think they just do a waiver plan, go with it. All right. We don't entertain the waivers at this point because it's only preliminary. The question I have is, are you gonna have this road be private?
Yes, the road would remain private
Okay.
and would be maintained by a homeowners association that would be created for not only the road, but also the stormwater system.
Okay, are you going to request in your waivers to have it not fully built out?
What we would be requesting is what we had in the waivers for the build-out. We're actually looking at, paving the roadway. I had mentioned the waivers had to do with things such as the water and sewer system, the street lights. Additionally, one thing we did want to bring up and hopefully have some dialogue with the board this evening is we did show a sidewalk, but there is not a sidewalk out in Elm Street. The applicant would like to have some dialogue with the board as to the viability of the sidewalk, if that would be something the board would consider waiving as well.
Well, the reason I'm bringing this up is typically when it goes private, and something like this, they tend to change the size of the road and not the 46-foot build-out and all that. And if you're gonna, we don't care what it looks like, how wide, to a certain point. So the sidewalks going, everything else, especially when you're doing private, when I'm looking at it, it's almost like a town road.
Correct.
But we've had many like this that they want to narrow it down to 20 feet. It's typically, when you get into that, you'd have to be dealing with the fire department. And if you guys are thinking of doing that, the only thing I would suggest is you better go see them, because they get a little funky on the turnaround, on the hammerhead, whatever you got up there at the cul-de-sac.
Yeah, we have a full cul-de-sac bulb.
Yeah, we've had a lot of these in towns where, what are you building them out for? Essentially 2 houses, because you already have 1.
Correct.
So that's where you might want to take a look. There's a couple little subdivisions we've done over the years throughout the town that, because it's private, you don't have to have the side, they have some waivers.
Correct.
Typically, we don't have an issue with it. And same thing with the drainage and so on and so forth. If you guys end up talking to Kyle, he's done enough of these to know what's up with that, what you can and can't do. But even if you want to neck it down, there's always that sticky issue. The fire department wants to make the big turn. So the road, 20 feet, that's definitely from the fire department. They can't go less. But the cul-de-sac, how you get around that. So if you're thinking of going private, you might want to go like everyone else has, go private, like everyone else.
Okay. No, I appreciate it. That's why we're here, to get some input before we get into the drainage calculations and
Yeah.
all the details and whatnot. Get some input from the board. So
Yeah,
it's very helpful.
that's your biggest hurdle. The other thing that I see, you're within wetlands, and I'm sure you guys done this enough times, so if you do it, I'm just shooting down the road, is typically so you understand, is we wouldn't necessarily want to close the hearing until you're all done with conservation, because typically guys, when they've asked for it and something got moved, they'll restart. So I think you guys know that anyway.
Yes, no, that makes sense, and we have filed for and obtained an order of resource area delineation, so the Concom has seen the project. They've confirmed the boundaries, and the applicant and I have met with the conservation agent to go over, excuse me, the concept design plan. Excuse me.
How big's the dump down there now? It's pretty small.
How big's the what, I'm sorry?
Dump. The Turner dump, where all the shingles are.
Out in the back,
Oh, yeah,
it's cleaned up.
okay. I've been there a few times, and it's like, it was always like the pretty Turner pond and everything, and I was just, what's this? It's like a dumpster, put about 3 or 4 loads. That was the only spot I saw it, but, oh, it's nice property. But I just wanted to brief you on doing the whole waiver and whatever's done. And you can, like I said, come in a Kyle, see what they've done in the past and what they've hit for roadblocks. But I wanted to just caution, because we usually end up 2 or 3 hearings more than we needed, because you guys, so you haven't gone and seen the fire department. And all of a sudden, they come back, they redo it. So my suggestion on this, go see them first, see what they want, don't want, or whatever, okay?
Okay, thank you.
That's all I really got on this, just that I've looked at, so I'll start with John.
This is all what, it's 2 lots on the assessors, but it's actually, they're both lots are contiguous, right? There's nothing.
Correct, they're under the same ownership, yes.
Okay. It seemed like there was a little stretch that was between the 2 pieces, and it wasn't clear whether that was an easement or something. No.
Oh, you're talking that little point?
Well, that's something else too, but I think Kyle will cover that, but, towards the lower section of the map, there's like a very thin stretch, kind of delineated. Yeah.
In this area?
Yeah, that right there. And it wasn't
Oh, that's a
clear.
stream, so there's a stream
That's a stream.
that comes in from the opposite side of the road, comes under the road, and then bisects the 2 lots. We can certainly go over that with Kyle. The deeds call for it to be to the center of the stream.
Mr. Chairman, if you will, I agree with John. That, it looks like that's a separate lot, the way you've got it drawn on the plan, with the stream interrupting it. That isn't clear.
Okay,
So I'm sure that can be straightened out.
sure.
And I noticed Kyle's comment about the long needle at the end there, so that'll have to be addressed. Okay, so from the cul-de-sac, the common driveway will go out and serve the 3 buildings that are all going to be located in the rear of the parcel.
Correct, these 3 would be the houses.
Okay. And lot 1, lot 2, lot 3. And it looks like the common driveway is going to be going over multiple lots to get to the back one.
Correct.
Is that going to require easements within the deeds, or?
Yes.
And I suppose it'll be fire department's issue whether they need anything beyond the cul-de-sac to run, if they have to go all the way back there, whether they'll need an additional turning circle or something towards the back for them to be able to get out if they have to go all the way back.
Yeah, we can certainly go over that with the fire department when we meet with them.
You've got your circles. Is this in a water resource protection area?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So that information should be on the plans. And what its requirements are. Covered lot coverage percentages. So each house will have its own well system and their own septic system, is that correct?
That's our proposal, yes.
So the property actually abuts the pond, is that correct?
Yes. This area.
That's everything for a moment.
All right, Phil?
Yeah, so I guess you did some very clever things to get in the 3 lots. So on the I guess it would be Lot 3, the one that extends all the way down to the front on the left side, the north side of the...
This one?
Yeah. So how would that, is there any issues how people would maintain that long strip, or the landowners? I guess that's not something that you worry about now, but I was just curious.
Yeah, I would expect that that would remain in a vegetated state,
So no, yeah.
be graded off and turned into a lawn area. That would certainly be at the discretion of the homeowner, but
And then electric will electric be underground, or?
yes.
Yeah, yeah. And, yeah, I guess I don't really have other questions.
One other question. The current house is occupied at this time?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I can tell by the trash barrel, it sits out there for weeks at a time. You can tell by the trash barrel, it sits out there weeks at a time. Seems that Mr. Madden Jr. doesn't pull it in that often. All right, you all set, Phil and John?
I'm all set, yeah.
I just wanted to say something on the electrical. It's our, what do you call it? We haven't updated ours on the underground. You know, a few years ago, Grid or whoever's here, Eversource, everything has to go under. So, I mean, we can't make it, right, Cal?
Yes.
Yeah, so, I mean, yeah, you asked the waiver because it's in the book, I understand, but we know you can't do it. And you couldn't put it overhead even if you wanted to. So that's just us not getting
Correct.
up to date, so, okay? Kate?
Most of my questions have been answered. Just for curiosity, that lot now, as you see it, you drive up to get in. How much are you looking to chip it down, or are you leaving it elevated?
This lot are you referring to?
Off of, when you pull into the existing home,
The Turner's old house.
Yep,
the driveway goes up at a pretty good slope.
yes,
Are you looking to cut the slope down, or are you looking to, yes?
yes, we are.
How much?
So 12 feet, about 12 feet?
Yeah, it's almost flat.
It's almost flat.
Well,
Last
it's gotta be-
page.
Very
Last page
gradual
of the
slope,
plan.
so it'll be cut a lot.
Okay.
So at this end of the roadway, what we propose to do is commit at 1% to provide a leveling area with the intersection of the existing road, Elm Street, into a vertical curve, and then up at 3% through the cul-de-sac. That results in about a 20-foot cut at the end of the cul-de-sac.
Okay.
And if you've been up there, you know how steep it is. And the roadway is actually coming down the road, down Elm Street towards the pond from where the driveway connection is at the high point. So the grade of the existing road is even lower. Thank you.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Paul?
Yeah, again, I look at, town's liability, none, it's private road, fire and drainage. I think most of the comments have been asked, or questions have been asked, so, Jack, I have no further questions at this point.
Okay, I'd ask that when you do bring it in, I haven't found it on here, where's your little needle piece? Oh, there it is, never mind, I found it, it's on sheet 3, there it is, okay, lot 1, all right. Just wanna make
Needle
sure.
piece, yes. Yep.
Right, in case someone down the road says, oh, why can't we have that? Do you need that to make these lots?
Yes.
All right, so you can't give it up?
No.
Okay, you go under the 80,000. Okay, that's answers if someone comes, oh, the town would like to have it, so they can, but you can't. All right. Kyle?
Mr. Chair, we did deliver a letter dated January 10th. There are 8 comments on it. The first several comments are about drafting on the plan. They're really fairly minor comments. The last 6 comments are on the waivers, and I've actually understood something tonight that I didn't at the time of the writing of the letter, Anyway, the first 8 comments, probably the most significant is number 7, where the underground infiltration sheet is actually shown beneath the proposed road. I had assumed, given the fact that this was 26 foot with a full cul-de-sac, that it was going to be a public way. So we asked that that drainage system be moved out of the road. That may be up for discussion if it's going to stay private. On the waivers, I just noted if the streetlight waiver is granted, and I'm really up to the board, that I suggested that a, lamp post be put down there anyway, something so you can see the end of the driveway. We've got no objection to the elimination of the water system and the sewer system. The sewer's not available, and they're gonna use wells, so if they wanna do that, that's just fine, although the fire department might have something to say about that. And then 4 and 5 of the waivers, curbs and gutters, we were not recommending it, but once again, that was assuming that it was gonna be a private way, so that's also up for discussion. I've got no objection to waiving the traffic study, but I noted that we wanted a site distance analysis. And that's really it.
When you do visit Kyle at some point, you might want to check all the waivers, just so you're not left hanging. One of them is my favorite one, street trees. You guys want to put in street trees?
Probably not in this situation.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, is you gotta get them all on there. It's not fun in this town with the street trees when you're gonna put them on private property, so just make sure you have that. The other thing is, I don't know if it was mentioned, you're gonna have some type of, have to look over by Kyle, whatever, on the agreement of the homeowners association for the road. How that's gonna be maintained and so on and so forth.
Sure. We can work with Kyle on that.
Okay, like I said, you best look at some of the other subdivisions that have been done like private roads, and just, you can learn from those. But they're all pretty much typical. We've had 2 lots, we've had 3. I don't think we've had more than 3, have we? Not that you've been around, I can't think of it, so. Yeah, so, that's all I have, so, everybody all set?
Yeah.
Make a motion to give, I guess, conditional approval, Kate? Wait, tentative.
Second,
I didn't agree with Kate on tentative.
just go with it.
All right, we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. When do you think you'll be back? How long?
Hopefully, first meeting in March.
Really?
Skiing.
Hey, quick night. You go skiing?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and, what? You want to? Oh. Yeah, all right, I'll give you them all. All right, on to bigger and better. We now have a continued public hearing, a site plan for case 2303, the League School on, I almost said Mylon. Not Mylon.
Jack, there's 2 different comments there, one on the first revision and someone on the second.
Moose Hill.
Moose Hill, Jack.
Yep, Moose Hill. All right, I'll read, before we get going, some of the comments, so you guys, I don't know if you have them or not, but a lot of stickies here. So, let's see. What's, Kate, do we not have another one from the cops, or is this it?
Do I have another one?
From the, you got stickies all over the
No,
police.
just that revision number 1 that we've never read, and then revision number 2 that came in.
Oh, okay. All right, we'll do the easy one first. The Walpole per Luke Pollen, officer, and Walpole Police Department has new public safety concerns in relation to the traffic. Okay. Next one, from Board of Sewer and Water Commissioners, John Hassenegger, Chairman. They discussed this on December 4th, and They want a special condition that the proposed development be added into the utility plan, and that the proposed development will be served by a sewer injector on site and the force main piping in Moose Hill, across Route 1 to a summit manhole on Moose Hill Road, on the westerly side of Route 1. The entire waste system will remain private and maintained by the League School. I note that the grease trap and holding tank shall be maintained per the town engineer's recommendations. So, question, I guess I'll throw it to Kyle. This is already happening, right? Doing the ejector?
Yes,
All right, they already had that on the plans and everything else, right?
they do.
Okay, all right, I remember us talking about it, so, okay.
But we're emphasizing that the injector and everything that goes with it, the piping to the manhole on the edge of Route 1 and across Route 1 remain their responsibility. It's not a public sewer.
Okay, who owns that pipe right now?
They probably do.
Where's the one for the apartments?
In a separate conduit.
Oh, it is a separate?
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was all the same, okay. All right, so they had put it in, so you
Yes.
guys understand that? Nadine?
Mr. Chairman, say it again.
They want you guys to keep ownership of the pipe going across Route 1. You already own it anyway? Yeah.
Yeah, like the other force mains on Moose Hill Road, we're assuming that would be private and maintained by us.
So you're using the same, you're just putting this in the same one?
Correct.
Okay, that's fine. It's not, all right, that's, clears that one up.
Yeah, it just gives us, and I've also asked that that be a special condition in the approval. It just gives it, it gives it documentation that's all theirs.
Okay. From the conservation agent dated January 16th, and the conservation issued a land disturbance for 231 Moose Hill on the 16th of November, and the applicant should provide the conservation with a letter stating the changes so it can be determined if additional action is required, which would be if we change anything, right? All right. Let's see, we got cows, we got all berries. Carl, before I go one more to read, but I have one on the 28th of November and one on the 16th of January. Is the one on the 28th of November superseded by the 16th?
Correct.
Okay, so I can just,
Go to the 16th.
okay, well, I'm gonna let you read it after I read the other two.
Right.
I just wanna make sure. Fire department. Oh. The one, Board of Health will not be meeting before December 6th. This is back in November, but they voted unanimously, have no comments at this time, so we still didn't get one from them. And from Paul Barry, Fire Chief, dated, Paul, where do you date it? You know, oh, there, well, this September 25th. I hope you guys have already seen this.
Yeah.
All right, number one, swept pass analysis. You had to give them further detail?
We have. Yep.
We don't have anything from them, that's the problem. We got an outdated one, but we don't get anything from them.
I've not seen anything from him since that letter, but we have been in contact with the fire department.
Okay, the point is, this is September. You may have fixed it, but we got nothing from the fire chief saying everything's okay. So you're gonna have to do, you're gonna get that before we can go.
Yeah.
So, and you had the minimum inside turn radius shall be 25 feet. Number three, the roadway design maintained to support the fire department. Fire lanes markings are required. Indicate the proposed fire department connection on the plans. With the rooftop equipment, I remember us discussing this. They want the access to one of the stairwells, okay? That, it's not necessarily us, that's gonna come when you do your building permit. And fire alarm system monitored by a radio box, that will also be part of your building permit. And on page C, 503 of the September 14th, it indicates the town, oh yeah, we went to the town of Devens. I assume you're correct to that, right? What town did you put on now?
Pretty sure it's Walpole, Mass.
What was the word in front of what? Pretty sure?
We're up here, Walpole, Massachusetts.
Yeah, okay, so you understand, you're gonna have to go get them before we can say bye-bye.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
And let's see, I have, Kyle can read his right now.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, we did a letter dated January 16th to the board. There are several comments. This is a re-review. There's quite a few comments in here, or not quite a few, there's a few comments left over with typographical plan changes, data, things of that nature. I guess the of any substance is comment 27, where we are discussing the sign summary, and discussing whether or not an advance warning for pedestrian crossing is needed for the RRFB. I actually don't know the answer to that, and I've asked Mr. Piccarelli to straighten that out with his traffic engineer. There's good sight distance there, and it may not be needed. We've also asked that the RRFB be maintained. It's basically for the exclusive use of League School from one facility to the other, and they have agreed to that. The only new, and items 62 and 63 are suggested special conditions, and they remain from the first review, and we'll ask you to put those in. The only new comment is 64, and that has to do with overlaying, milling and overlaying Moose Hill Road when everything is done, because there are multiple utility intrusions out there. It's not a moratorium road, but it's fairly recently paved, and we're trying to look out after the town's interest in here and keep our roads in good shape. And that's it.
Okay, I have a letter from
I think it's blowing colder.
Butter. When was the last time we met on this, Kate?
Excuse me?
When was the last time we did this?
October 19th. October 19th?
That it?
12/7, it was continued 11/2,
But we didn't, did we do anything on 11/2?
I believe so, yes.
Doesn't matter, I got a letter here dated the end of November, so.
Is that from Angela?
Yes,
We didn't, yeah.
okay. Angela Moore, I think she's the abutter. Yeah, she is, 237 Moose Hill. And we did a site walkthrough on November 13th with Larry Sauer, Joe Piccarelli, Chris McCarthy, and another neighbor. The plans have changed. It's the meeting of the 19th. I'm only referring to my property line and work after previous discussed to clear and provide screening. A new member of High Point was present, and he showed us revised plans, which demarcation points of clearing dead trees, trimming existing, and fallen brushes, and moved approximately 10 to 15 feet away from my property line. Did that happen?
Yes.
Okay.
The project team met with the abutters, including Ms. Moore, and the property was staked out to show where the property line, the proposed building corners, and where the generator and transformer were going to be kept. And based on those meetings, they met, I think, with Ms. Moore twice. Based on those meetings, League School agreed to revise the landscape plan to her wishes, which was to increase the size of the berm and put new plantings, evergreen trees along, and remove some dead vegetation.
Okay, next paragraph indicates on October 16th, I think we're going backwards, but Joe Piccarelli, yeah, okay, got you. John Stabag and Mike Sullivan discussed me performing the work, made it clear at the planning board meeting that the screen on the berm varieties would provide me some privacy and noise reduction. He says there appears to be a lack of continuity among the communication, the league stakeholders, and a lot of support from the planning board, as discussed. Also, it appears that the place of the generator is pretty close to my property. The property line does not go straight back. It angles significantly to the right, and I would like to understand the guidelines for distance placement required for the size of equipment relative to my property, predominantly a residential setting. Lastly, this will be a school, there'll be no residential clients. I would like to understand what permits to allow this project, what the responsibilities fall under this project, and the type of permit. If they do not remove decaying branches and fall on my property, as happened in the past several times, this will be continued to be my responsibility while I incur costs to remove. I plan to attend the December 7th meeting, but I'll say just from, we all know, branch from your property falls on mine, I gotta pick it up. Unless you're such a nice neighbor, you come and get it. But as we all know, if it's decaying or whatever, and they point it out to you, and it does fall, then it becomes your responsibility.
Correct.
So that's just the standard legal stuff. All right, now, it appears to go back and forth. Why don't you show everybody right now exactly your plans for the generator and what you're
Yeah,
doing?
I'll turn it over to Joe.
Joe Piccirilli with High Point Engineering. So I think we can go right to the grading plan, since that seems to be the start of the butter. So we're on page C300. So the concern with the abutter was we were actually keeping more of this tree line closer to the proposed building. What she wanted to see was more of the existing tree line cleared out of those dead trees, more of a berm built up for two things. One, so she doesn't have to deal with all those branches coming down on our property, and two, to screen the view from her yard to the building and this generator and transformer. So what we're proposing to do is build up a berm here about 7-8 feet, plant it with evergreen trees, 8 to 10 feet tall, just to give her more of the screening that she thought we were going to provide in the meeting.
So the berm on the plan reflects what you're planning on doing now?
Correct.
Right.
Yep. And this is after the letter that she wrote. That,
Yeah.
you know, we heard her concerns, and we decided to go more this route rather than keep more of the existing tree line.
How high is the generator, you know, as a box? You know, is it must be less than 8 feet? Right, it's, yeah.
Yep.
Depends on the fuel.
It is. Less than 8 feet.
Yeah, it's probably like the one at the library.
Yeah.
They're taller
Yep.
when a diesel fired and the tank sits underneath it. But I don't think that would be the case here.
It'll be gas then?
No, gas, diesel.
Well, it'll be diesel.
No.
Height is 65 inches, just a...
65.
Sorry, I just checked the height.
Yep.
It's not gonna be
65
electric,
inches high.
Carl?
Right. So
It's not gonna be electric?
looking at the landscape plan, generator's going to be down at elevation 207 with the top of berm here at 219. So, you know, we got this as down in a hole, buffered from her as much as that we could.
Okay.
And plus, on top of that berm, you have, you know, the 7 to 8 plant trees on top of it.
I would assume, since Ms. Moore's not here and you've met with her, she must be happy with what she's got, so that's good.
Yep.
All right. Since we discussed everything that's been sent by all the boards and commissions and public, I'll start with Paul. Questions or comments?
So in terms of regarding to address the neighbors' concerns, Jack, I mean, what does the league school have to oblige, or, I mean, do they have to meet? I mean, they've already met, right?
Yeah.
Basically, they've already done a walkthrough.
Yeah.
There's not much that they can do.
No, they've showed what they can do, they've cooperated and trying to be a good neighbor, but
Yeah.
there's nothing in the bylaws for generators. I mean, the closer you come to it, it's probably, I don't even know if it goes under a shed. Probably not, because you gotta be, I forget what the distance for a shed is off the sideline, but, yeah, it's just like being good neighbors.
Yeah. But I mean, a generator only has to power on just for the emergency testing, basically, right?
Correct.
I mean, just kind of like, what, a few minutes once a day?
I think it's once a week.
Is it once a week?
Yeah.
So we,
It's once a week. So even if you kind of curtail it, like kind of during the day or something like that, where it turns on, stuff like that, so then there's no nighttime noise. I mean, yeah, no, I mean, mean, that's basically, I mean, I would just be concerned of what the neighbors thought it was around it, but it seems like the school has addressed a lot of the concerns, so,
You all set?
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Catherine?
Thank you. The only question I had hanging was, there was some discussion about the traffic and the exit, whether you were going to be able to take a right-hand turn. What was decided on all of that?
So we increased this radius here. So it's just the fire department that we increased that radius for them to get out, because they wanted to be sure to be able to turn on Moose Hill Road both ways. But we are providing a left turn only coming out at this exit here for pickup and drop off to get everyone back towards Route 1.
So they won't be able to cut through,
Correct.
it's going to say left.
Yeah, and signs say stop, and red lights say stop, right? Don't park here.
Okay.
Hey, I
So
think-
there will be signage.
There will be signage directing traffic back to
Okay.
Route 1. Yep.
Thank you.
What happened is they had done it originally, it wouldn't work, and now the fire department wants to go both ways.
Yeah, but that's for the fire department. This was the neighbors.
Yeah,
This was
no,
in-
I understand, but they were, if you did it like you did out of Dunkin' Donuts, it wouldn't work, but
So
now.
you can't,
I
yeah.
think the mindset is for the quick drop through, right?
Yeah.
You come in, you go out only one way, right, versus,
Yeah.
parking and,
But aren't all the clients bust in or cart in?
I'm sorry?
You don't have parent drop-off, do you?
We do.
Oh, you do? But is this all gonna be parent drop-off, or is it a mix?
Mixture.
What would you say, 50/50? Just rough guess.
Probably, I'd say 75 by bus and
Okay.
25% by.
And 25% by parents, okay. All right, so that would cut it down a lot, because the buses aren't gonna be using that, all right. Phil?
Yeah, I really don't have any other questions. The fire, getting the fire chiefs or answer seems like the big thing, and,
Okay.
yeah, and it looks like you addressed the neighbor issues.
John?
I said, I even understood that one.
The southernmost exit, on the left-hand side, how close is that to the mall entrance off of Moose Hill?
To what entrance?
The entrance, never mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's not in Moose Hill. And I'm looking at the fire truck turning plan.
Sure.
I think we'll need to see what this turn comment is. I'm not clear as to whether this plan is showing it going from one lane into the other lane of Moose Hill Road, and they typically have an issue with that. So you'll definitely need to get approval from fire as to whether that satisfies the, it looks like within the area, it's just, as it turns out and turns in, doesn't have to go into the other lane to make that turn, and they generally have an issue with that.
Yeah, but I understand that's always a concern. We provided the radius that they asked for. I can't make Moose Hill Road any wider, so I believe we've done the best we could with them being able to turn onto Moose Hill Road.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see what fire department comes back with. It seems like you addressed the issue with the neighbor, you're not affecting the highway. I don't believe I have other issues then.
Okay, all set?
Yeah,
All right, the one issue I think is kind of waned is about planting in the town property, but you do, those are your plants.
Okay.
Right, Carl?
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, what was that?
Am I that entertaining that you don't remember what I said?
Correct.
Carl! Are we all set with the plants in the town layout? Okay, that they maintain them, right? Because that was a bone of contention for a while or not? You never had an issue with that, did you?
No.
No, it's just kind of, I guess, like planting anything in the town. All right, so we're at a point where we got one thing left to do for homework, and that's go see the firemen and make sure your plan is right. Now, if you're gonna change things on your plan, you're gonna have to do it, and you have to get it to us at least 14 days prior to the meeting, which is, will be, put you to the next meeting, so if you understand or not, did I explain it right?
I think so. So we've,
You gotta have it to us 14 days before, so if you give it to us the Friday before the meeting in 2 weeks, that's not 14. If you give it, what, 3:59 on a Thursday, Kate, as they always do, they just make it. But you would want to have all the chief's comments, if there are any.
and if they're all good,
Then you're gonna get the chief will give him give you a letter, or give us a letter to say everything on this plan is acceptable.
okay.
So you wanna go down each one of his items and.
Yep.
Oh, do we have something from Board of Health, or at least the way?
Yeah, they did. They said, they reiterate their comments before, and they have no issues or something like that. So, if you got to change, you got to redo the drawings. If you don't got to change, the 14-day doesn't matter. All we do is tell them to send us the letter, and you get a copy, and then that will wrap this one up.
Okay, understood.
So do we need extension?
Need an extension?
All right. We're gonna need extension, but when do you think get this all closed up?
ASAP, we've been in contact.
ASAP
yeah,
ain't a
somehow.
date.
We have meetings February 1st and February 15th.
First work for February 1st.
You're not gonna make it if you gotta change the plans.
Oh, yeah, they're not gonna, they have to change the.
So the earliest we can do.
Yeah, that's what we are. The 2 weeks is because we used to have guys stack up, give me the next time, and they give us the revised plans the night of the meeting. So the best you could do is the second meeting in February. We're asking you, can you make that?
Yes.
All right, so can we have an extension up through
228.
29th?
29. It's a
Leap year.
It is a leap year.
First time I had to ever do that.
Yeah, the 29th of February.
Yeah, so get that extra day. So we have an extension?
Yes.
Can you give it to us in writing, Nadine?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, all those in favor, I'll make a motion of extension through the 29th of February.
Second?
Second from Phil, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so, what do we got on the 16th?
15th.
On the 15th, we have 104 Main Street continued at 7:10. We can put them in first at 7:05.
Okay, well, okay. We'll continue this public meeting at 7:05 on February 15th.
15th.
All right, I'll see you
Okay.
then. So, go see Chief Barry. All right, and I think that wraps that one up. Yeah, I thought you were at Elm Street. I thought that was
This
a
is coming in there.
public hearing.
Two candidates. Keep telling me. Sorry. This is beautiful.
It's nice when it's early.
Thank you. Bye.
Good night.
Do I gotta give you something? Yeah, give you that, and that, and that, and that, and that, and that, and that's it. Plus it gets tossed.
Hi, Fran. Fran, say hi, Fran. Just do it.
So, next and last item on the agenda is comments on master plan.
That's a good idea.
Okay,
That was Beth's idea.
what we got? All right.
Good night.
Alright. I'll start. John, do you have any comments on the master plan?
No,
None? All right. Kate?
Yep, wait a minute. They're really messy, sorry. I thought I wasn't going to go first.
You went back first, you got second. Oh, I skipped Phil.
So I think,
But you can't comment, you said you're all set.
No, I have some things.
Oh, you do, okay.
well, let Phil go.
Okay, go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, so I've read through the plan again, very detailed. I found a few typos which I'll present to bear. There's no sense me going through those. I just want to note a couple that I think there was a couple of tables that were misnumbered. The biggest change that I'm making that people may want to know about is, or are advocating, or asking for, is on page 170, on action policy 6D, 6D3. I just want to, that we actually had 2 votes on that. I actually listened to the media TV recording of the meeting just to verify. So there was a second vote on October 25th, which was 7-0-0, and what voted, that's the text in the plan is what we voted on that night, which is different than was voted on 9/27. So just to be very clear, nothing changes in the recommendation, it's just that it was voted in on 10/25, and it was the second vote, and it made one change in the language. So I'll just make that clarification. Other than that, all my other changes were like they talked about the old town hall. It should be the old town house. It should be old town hall. Things like that were found in here. So I may have about 20 of those kinds of things that I'll present.
All right, Kate?
Okay, so I think we should take out the references to the East Walpole Library as it's been sold. And I think it would look bad if we come out with it and it's already been sold. So I noted they were on page 19, 21. So my plan, the plan I went over is a little different setup because I gave Kate my plan. So I was going on the one on the website. So don't quote my pages. But the East Walpole Library is referenced several times, and I think that should be removed. The other thing, and Phil, this is more of a, I wasn't at the last meeting.
The last meeting being on September 19th?
Yes,
Yes.
that was, I had another meeting
Yep.
to attend that night. And so this was my frustration all along with master plan, but I'm just going to air it on this one example. We would discuss things sometimes, and then they wouldn't end up in the plan. We discussed several times, I had brought it up at more than one meeting, that under the municipal buildings, section goal 8, I believe it is, that it should specifically address public safety. And we had discussed it at a meeting, and then Judy came back and it wasn't in there. And I asked why it wasn't in there, and she said it was general enough, and then we discussed it as a group again and agreed it should be in there. And my reasoning was, so we have a brand-new police and fire station, but specifically, I use the example of the East Walpole Fire Station, that, yes, they've done renovations, but it is antiquated. And if we're going to keep, and I didn't have the knowledge, like the facts, because I obviously didn't interview the chiefs or anything, but it just seems like a logical thought process that you look at that building, it's small and antiquated, and if the town keeps growing with the affordable housing projects and South Walpole project and downtown projections, it's possible they may need more than what they have.
Actually, I think that is in the plan.
So I couldn't find it.
Katie, let me
and
find it
that's
for you,
why-
because I did.
And I had also said, again, my knowledge base wasn't great because I didn't talk to the police chief, but I didn't know if they needed like outposts. So if South Walpole goes through, I understand they respond in their vehicles, but my concern was, do they need more? So I had mentioned that, and the group as a whole had agreed with it. and it was mentioned and agreed upon more than once, and I couldn't find it.
It depends if we voted on it. Again, I don't know. I mean, we can look back at the minutes of the
So
meetings.
we called her out on it more than once. Why wasn't it in there when we agreed to it? And then there were comments like, I went back in my master plan notebook, which is pretty big, and, you know, there were subjects like this where people were like, we discussed this, why isn't it in there? Where did this information come from? This should be specific to Walpole. So this was one of those things that was very specific to Walpole, and we said it would be in there. So I just wanted to know if it's in there. I couldn't find it.
And what are you looking for? Give me a mention.
I was looking under the municipal facilities, because I thought that was the logical,
But what is it for? For,
public safety specifically. The police and fire, we said to mention specifically police and fire.
but what context? Police and fire, we need more, or
Just like everything else, to assess, you know,
just assess?
the forward, I don't have the verbiage we said, but basically moving forward the need for the expansion or improvement of what we currently have. And we, like I say, we talked about it quite a bit.
As someone who lives on Washington Street, I can say that we see the truck coming from East Walpole by my house several times a day.
You see what?
The fire truck coming
Fire
by
truck.
our house several times a day.
I guess I'd have to look to see where, you know, where we talked about it, and whether we voted on it, or how we voted on it.
That was my big concern. I mean, there's little things in here that I shake my head at, but that was one that we had called it out and called it out, so, and I couldn't find
And
it.
all members had a chance to, you know, we asked everybody to review the report several times. Did any other comments
I'll go
during
back and find
the
it.
committee meetings?
Okay,
It's not in here,
all right.
but that's how things went the whole time.
What else? Okay, you want to do more, you also
No, I don't think you want me to do more.
unbind that?
Yep, I'm gonna zip it right now.
All right.
How long is the South Walpole firehouse been closed or down?
South Walpole's not closed.
Is the South firehouse down there still?
Yeah, it's still open,
Oh,
because they need it. Because if there's a stadium event, the firemen gotta go somewhere when it's cold. That's why we keep that open. That's the only reason, Kyle, don't worry, that's the only reason it's kept open, is we need it, because when they're down there for the stadium events. Because they don't operate out of there at all, do they? Nope. They still got the gym in there? Oh, no, the gym's now up over here.
Never been
That
inside
was
that.
Oh, they got two gyms.
Such a long time frame that it wore everyone down.
Exactly.
And, okay. All set then, Ms. Abady?
Yep.
All right, we're on, Paul?
Jack, all due respect, I couldn't tell you what should be in a master plan and what should. I mean, looking at this and stuff like this, you know, one thing only just because, like, again, call it the social organizations, I mean, there's no reference of them. I mean, we have cultural organizations, we have the historical organizations, but, you know, you have Junior Women's, you have Walpole Lions, I mean, Masons, I mean, you know, organizations that have done work for the town of Walpole and for the people. But is there, I didn't see any mention of them, Phil?
you're talking about in the recommendations, or just?
No, in the plan, it talks about, what these historical organizations, page 127, Phil? So, although it's a small section, it kind of gives a brief discussion on them, sorry. So, I mean, there's a nice, granite two-post with a nice board, Town of Walpole, that was donated from the Walpole Line, where people can hang their banners in the center of town.
Right.
Things like that. So I'm just saying there's no mention of any social organizations in the town.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't come up by anybody on the committee, so I don't know, that's a...
Yeah, I'm not taking it personally, sir. I'm just saying, again, that's why I prefaced my opening remarks by saying I don't know what should be in a plan or what shouldn't be in a plan, but when I look at, some of the organizations that are listed, I mean, there's other organizations that are pulling their weight in this town, and the fact that we don't make the master plan or what have you, again, I don't know if we don't carry that much weight in the town or whatever, but...
I'm...
Downtown
something
business
might have got-
organization.
Downtown business, exactly, John. I mean, just say, I'm not trying to point out any faults. Please don't take this personally. I'm just saying is,
It's a good,
I think I would think that something like that should be part of a plan, right? Because again, you've got a lot of great organizations.
No, it's a valid point.
I thought so. Thank you. But other than that, Chair, I have nothing.
Okay, I got a bunch, but the problem I'm having right now is this book doesn't agree with what's online, the pages.
No, it doesn't, because I printed this.
I'm looking at it now, I'm trying to find, where is this page? It's not in there. So that's a problem. All right, I'll do the easy stuff first. I believe the master plan was 20 years, we did it in '04, so it should reflect 2024. And I also think there should be something on this title acknowledging our 300th anniversary, so something that's 1724 to 2024. We're going through all this wonderful anniversary stuff, so I don't know why that wouldn't have been there, okay?
Well, we were thinking it was coming out in 2022.
The committee was formed in '21, but it's supposed to be, the committee got formed way too early, because the selectmen jumped the gun and they tried to take it over.
But either way, so the plan was for, if every, we never thought that this process would go on so long getting
Well, I
this
never thought the
plan.
process would start this early, because it was supposed to be 20 years from 2024, from 2004.
I don't think it really says 20 years in the state law, it just says,
Well, it's been a 20-year update, but that's what it is, but they jumped the gun. As we all remember, we had nothing to do with it, all of a sudden they started the committee, and I had to get on and said, no, per state law, it's ours. So, that, I think, should be there, because to me, it would be stupid to push this out on the 300th, but...
but in the state law, there's nothing that says. it's every 20 years.
I don't give a rat's butt about that, okay? The other thing is, there should be, at the end, I assume we're gonna put approved dates on the front cover somewhere here.
Yes, there is, on the online version, that was one of
Okay.
the changes I had her make.
Yep.
So it's on the online version, it says the approval date of the committee.
All right.
Obviously, there's not an approval date by the planning board yet.
Okay. I'm looking at the letter to the town that you had.
Yep.
And I'm gonna tell you, I'm not great at spelling, not great at English, none of that, but I do know that things should have been capitalized, like the master plan shouldn't be not capitalized. Should be all town officials, O should be capitalized, and board should be capitalized, and committee should be capitalized. That's, I guess, the way it needs to be done. The other thing that bothered me throughout this whole thing is, it says, well, it was said that, the fields are rough, this or that. I don't see any footnotes to who said it.
So that was based on a public, a public input we got during all of the.
So this wasn't based upon anybody within the rec department or the DPW or whatever? Anything in here was all based upon what someone said?
No, so they interviewed the department heads.
But that needs to be in here. That isn't anywhere here. You wouldn't even know who contributed to this. Right? I think you need department heads that were interviewed for this, so people know who was, so when they see something, they should have at least know who, there was a name to whatever happened on that. I think that's important, just like anything, because you just don't have somebody willy-nilly said we needed this. So, that needs to be there. I'm not gonna get, the other thing, I don't know how everybody feels, but I know if you're new in town, or you haven't been here a while, or whatever, all these pictures, right? You know, I know where most of them are. I don't think the vast majority of people do. I would've thought we'd have a little thing under each picture to say where it is. All right, so, you know, we get these pretty pictures like this. I'm on, I don't know, whatever page that is. I don't know where, I can guess where that is. These waterfalls here. I know that's the White Bridge, only because I grew up down that way, but at least you should be identifying, so if people say, okay, we know the old town hall, but, I mean, in the new town hall, but it should at least, you know, if you looked at that real quick, aside from, yeah, it's you're taking with all the grass growing through the library thing, but if you look at that quick, that looks like an industrial, I mean, a new office building. You're so close to it, but, you know, that's what I think you need, so people know what, to identify it, so. Like this one, I don't even, I assume, where the hell's that? No idea. You know, Phil?
I don't know. Yeah, they did all the pictures.
Yeah, so I mean, if we can't figure it out, here's one that most people wouldn't guess, but this is right down in
27.
east, yeah.
East.
But some of these, you know,
Yeah.
guaranteed, most people don't know where that bridge
That's
is.
Spring-
Yeah, I know it is, but it's hard.
Bridge to nowhere.
Yes, yeah, the bridge to nowhere we paid a lot of money for. All right, there's a lot of items in here that, all right, we had I'll go the way Kate was going, a little bit of them. And I'll go, as I blow through here, I'll do it at different rates. Okay, there's something, it's page 14, it doesn't mean anything because this doesn't react to that one, but it says OSRP, and someone told me that's the Open Space Recreation Plan. All right, I'm wondering what it is, someone had to tell me it. Most of the time when you see these wonderful governmental abbreviations, we should have in parentheses what it is, what it means.
Yeah, they usually say what it is the first time, and then after that.
Why I didn't see it anywhere.
But
That's why I kept
there are
going
some-
back.
No, there are some that should be fixed in that regard.
Yeah,
I
and also-
noticed that too.
Yeah, and who did the plan too, or even just do a footnote if someone wants to look at it. Some of the nitty-gritty, open space developments, but they didn't list Whitman Homes, the one off of Homestead there. You know, who rated these fields? I'm looking at Lower Turco, that Stone, and they have Mylod. It really is not a town field. The Plimpton field, that I'm trying to figure out where that was, and I finally figured out. It's that little piece of mud between the, what do you call it, the booth, the,
Is it really called
Snack
that,
book.
was what
No,
I wanted to know.
no,
I've never heard it
never.
called that.
I grew up there, no.
Okay.
Your mother's never heard, I've never heard of it. I didn't even know what it was. Someone just
That
came,
between the parking lot and the
yeah. and-
Between
yeah.
the field house, the snack
field house
shack.
and the track.
It has no name, and it isn't even a
Snack
field.
shack on the fence.
Softball,
Yeah,
baseball.
yeah, they used to play Little League there.
The baseball field, right, the old baseball.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be
The other
soft-
thing,
yeah.
and I'm referring to pages that aren't the same, open space developments are open to the public, that isn't listed. Lincoln Road landfill, can't touch it, I don't know why people don't do research. It was capped back in the 70s, they blew it again in the 90s when they put clay on it, we had to recap it and spend over $1 million to get back where it should be, so that's off the table. Let's see. Talks about a CRB study, but no conclusions. The splash pool was redone. It would have been nice if they mentioned Turner's for skating. And then talk about upgrading the Johnson School, but they're gonna put it out of service. I don't know what that means.
Well, it mentions the Johnson School is going to be surplus in the study.
Well, it doesn't say. The West Street landfill, I don't know where that is, but I know the Lincoln Road. Where is the West Street landfill? That,
Probably just mislabeled, yeah.
yeah. But they listed two, Lincoln and West. That's like,
Yeah, because you gotta turn off in the Lincoln. if you get-
there's one that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. It mentions the Intergovernmental Panel, which is, I had to Google up, it's from the United Nations.
Yeah, it's on climate change.
Yeah, but climate change, and that's one thing I'll say about climate change. Climate change is a political position, it's not a science, so I don't think it needs to be
Jack,
belonging. It's
It's a science, I mean.
It's a science that some people believe, and they want to believe, and some people don't.
Jack.
So, don't,
99% of scientists who are.
99, no, I don't want to fill, no, not 99%, it's been shoved, okay? This is a master plan for the town, not for a political action statement. So
It's
my-
not a political, the state.
I don't
you
care
can't
about the
get-
state, we don't need a climate change
Well,
in here.
I
but the-
totally disagree with
Well,
you.
good,
It's a
but that does-
their science is science. You know, people can have their views.
Okay, we're gonna get into this, I'm not gonna get into it.
Science is science.
It's not a science, because you can
I have worked-
You
no,
can
you-
slight this any which way you want. I'm gonna make an example. In there is something that showed the water getting in this intergovernmental through 2090, okay? I found that amazing. But you know what we don't have in there, Phil? And this is what I'm gonna bring up. Nobody asked the school what their enrollment projections are. It stops at 2022. That's a key thing that should be in here.
Okay, but that's different than.
No, it's not
climate
different,
change.
because, no, climate change, we go to this end, but when we don't want to go this way, we keep it narrow. There's another one in here that talks about in climate change, about all these tornadoes and stuff, goes back to 91, we've had 21. I always wonder when, it's like sports, well, since 2023, he's been leading Russia. Yeah, but go back to 22, he wasn't. The same thing here, they stop at 1991, which is there's no reason for it.
I do want to clarify one thing, though, that most of the data on climate change in Massachusetts, New England, Walpole, is from our University of Massachusetts at Amherst. There is the Northeast Climate Change Center, and we actually had somebody from them present at the library twice, a couple of
You know, it's funny, the climate change takes up the most pages in this whole thing. But anyway,
Yeah.
but if we're on the climate change, Phil, okay, I didn't see one thing about what the town is doing for climate change. Have they done anything?
Yeah, well, there's the Resiliency Task Force, there's a whole lot of sections.
Whole
about
lot
it.
of studies on what we should do, right?
Yeah, and that was
How about-
identifying,
I'll say it,
yeah.
put your money where your mouth is, so to speak, not against you, Phil, but how many EV charging stations does the town of Walpole have?
It's woefully short.
Town of Walpole themselves.
I don't know, actually, yeah.
How many
Yeah.
EV vehicles does the town have?
Yeah, no, and it's.
Okay, then,
recommended-
we will go,
It's recommended in here that we do those two
but
things.
it's not, it's recommended, but to me, if you're gonna do a master plan and you're going for this stuff, you gotta expose, you can't just, don't look over here, but we're gonna go do this. Well, what is the town doing right now if you wanna have climate change in here? They haven't done anything, okay?
Well, there's a long section about climate change in here.
I understand, but guess what? People talk about it, we gotta do it, but when it comes time to do it, nobody does it, right?
Well,
The town hasn't done a thing.
I can.
We got a couple of battery screw guns, but other than that, we don't have one vehicle that's battery charged, and we don't have one EV charging station.
So one big thing the town did was we became a green community, which made us eligible for grants.
So I don't care, we'll get to that in a minute, but still.
We changed all of our, we bought then the streetlights in Walpole that allowed us to put LED lights in, and that's saving the town a lot of money because now our electrical costs went way down.
Okay, but,
And I was.
okay, wonderful for that, but
Yeah. So,
pushing the,
so we should be getting more EV stations.
but we don't, that's, why wasn't that put in, that there was no EV stations the town has, and why was there no EV vehicles? Why wasn't it put in there? Don't you think that's important?
Well, we have.
Do you think it's important?
I think it's important, but
But it would have made us look bad.
We have recommendation, no,
Yes, you have, okay, Phil, when you have recommendation to do something, you have to say where you're starting from.
yeah.
So if you said we have 10 EV vehicles and 20 charging stations, oh yeah, that's a good start, we might need some more. But we didn't even say we started with nothing. Recommendations are nothing, you gotta tell people what you got, but we don't have anything. So we do a lot of talk, but we don't do the actions. One thing I didn't like, I called it the scare tactics on COVID. I'm so sick of that. They tell us that we had 4,000 cases of COVID in Walpole, but there was potential of 2,000 deaths in Norfolk County. Why do we go from Walpole to Norfolk County? I know why, because it pushes the narrative. No, I'm very simple. 1 and 1 is 2. If you're going to tell me Walpole has 4,000, tell us how many deaths. That would be good. But don't pull it to the whole county, which makes no sense. One thing in here, there's no mention of reestablishing a housing partnership. And one of the reasons I bring that up is if you go back to the 04 one, that was one of the recommendations they made.
Yeah, I know, that probably should have been in there.
Yeah. Here's one. You got to know where you're starting from, and I think you agree. But one thing I didn't find in here is how many, you list all the houses we have, all the multis, whatever, all the districts, but we don't have something to say how many more can be built. So we don't, you can't pick this plan up and say how big Walpole can get, can you?
I think it
Forget the
says that.
apartments and all that stuff, but there's nothing in there that says, okay, we get potential for another 100 lots, or another 150. There's nothing in there to say how much more it can grow.
It says that Walpole is pretty well built out based on the
Who said that?
zoning.
Who said that?
It's in the report.
But who said it?
Well, that was,
What person?
well, that was them getting all of the
Who's- that's
demographic
them.
data.
Who's them?
It was the consultant company.
I'm not talking demographic. They went through and charted out each place as a potential to put a house? I don't think so.
No, they were looking at how much land is open, how much land,
But it's not in here. It doesn't say how much more we can grow.
well, it says how much acreage is left.
The acreage
Yeah,
doesn't
I mean,
mean.
they do talk about the.
But
the
they
fact
didn't,
that
okay.
There is a
Now-
projection in there that they say
no
we're we're already exceeding the mass.
There's nothing that said we have this, we have 6,000 single families and we only have enough land left that's not wet, or zone right to build another 200. That's not in there. So nobody knows how many more single families in this, in 2024 we can build, so.
But it does say how much land is left. and
Yeah, but
it does
that
talk-
doesn't mean, that doesn't
and it
mean
talks
anything to
about-
anybody.
It talks about projections of how what the population growth is going to be
But that-
based on another, I forget what, it's in here what the.
I don't care about the intergovernmental, I don't care
It's
what
not
the
issue-
US data,
No,
whoever
no,
puts.
it's a Massachusetts housing.
Good for Massachusetts
Yeah.
housing. This is Walpole. How many house lots are left? That's not an unreasonable task to ask in the master plan, I thought, but what do I know? As I continued on, what I didn't like is you gave the town of Walpole credit for the Norfolk Street sidewalk. They didn't do it, right?
Right.
Not in yet.
What?
It's not in yet.
Well, they said it's in, but they gave it credit to the town,
It's not built yet.
but it's by Bristol.
It will be.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, we got something that's not built, and they're giving credit to the town.
So two wrongs.
But we'd have to, I'd have to look to see where that.
And the
Yes, I
other,
agree,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, that was a requirement of the planning board.
Yep.
actually, those,
Go.
nah, do we want to say that, Kyle? Or is like, we gotta put a water line down, we might as well do a sidewalk, kinda like that?
I just want to
Which
make
is
sure,
fine.
I want to make sure though that we're
Well, then
focusing on the
refer to
right
it as-
parts of the plan.
Okay,
So- so-
what's right parts? Every time I focus on a part, it's the wrong part, I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, the big,
What, the big
rec-
picture?
the rec-
Well, you gotta go through a little picture too, because little ones make it, here's the biggest project we got in the town, and it just said on 1A, and well, it's funded, it's supposed to be 5 years. It doesn't say when it started, when it's finished, it's just kinda like a blip in there.
well, for all of these things, Jack, I mean, there was only so much time that the consultants had to work on the report, only so much time volunteers have, so.
Okay, so,
I think
okay,
it's
all
actually very
right.
com-
Here's some of the
No, I
real
think
pro-
it's very comprehensive.
Some of the real
You know, when I
problems.
look through the summaries on,
I don't, but, okay,
Each
stop
section.
changing my turn, but the biggest project's not there. Yeah, I said about the enrollment projections, we had a 90, yeah, we told what the temperature's gonna be in 2020, 21, now, whatever it is, 2090, but we didn't do the other thing. Let's see, the other thing, the Walpole Food Pantry, it's not just Walpole, that should be corrected, because they are now taking in other towns.
Yes.
And that is very misleading, okay? Because it says you have 535 families. Well, it isn't 535 families in Walpole, it's that whole area they're taking. Yeah, anybody, I think. I don't think they check IDs.
I could tell you that they give out 200 something meals, right? 200 portions. So,
But now they got the vans that go in other towns, other
Yeah,
places.
rent them,
Yeah,
yeah,
so
they
this is
deliver
now,
them.
not Walpole, it's based in Walpole. Oh, here's one that I didn't find. Is it in there? Is there anything about the prison being closed?
Yes, yeah, it's
There
mentioned,
is?
it's
All right.
mentioned twice.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's why I asked.
It says there's 80, it even tells how many prisoners are left there right now. It's closing in 2024. And it talks about, that's one of the things, one of the tasks is looking at what we're going to do with that, what's going to happen.
Okay. Now, aside from getting
No
into,
one's there?
They've all moved to Shirley.
getting the rest of them, now, if you go back to 2004, this, I can't tell, this doesn't tell me anything. You go back to 2004, as soon as you open it up, they said how many people went out, blah, blah, blah. And they did the top 4 things the people wanted, and they rated them, all right? That's not in here, I don't see that. I cannot pick out the number 1 issue that the town needs to do from this master plan. Is there?
It's not there. Yeah, well, it rates
I
them,
don't feel, my personal observation is they couldn't put that in there because of the way the survey was taken.
Okay.
Because people could fill out the survey more than once. So you can't rank it.
All right.
I think what they raised it by they ranked it by the level of complexity and the elements of,
Well, anyway, if you go back to 2004,
yeah.
I mean, I know I looked at that, and what I also liked about them is every section, at the end, they said what is, instead of going all the way back to here, okay? That's just a matter of moving stuff. But they gave the top 4: tax relief, new business, water protection, and school protection, and then they really dialed in on those. We don't even know, this master plan doesn't, right now, someone says, oh, here's your master plan, what's your number 1 issue you need to deal with? Nothing's,
You might get too much sun in 2030.
not if I keep hitting in the woods. But there's nothing in here to tell us that, is there, Phil? It's supposed to lead us into the next 20 years, but there's nothing in here that says, what are
I
our...
think it leaves it up to town agencies, departments, and town meeting to determine what the top priorities are. This gives you a list of what you could do.
This shouldn't be what you could do. This was supposed to be for the whole town, and the town takes, and the townspeople sound off, what do they think their most important things is in this town we need to do, and it's not in here.
Well, it's not just so much what the most important thing, it's what we were looking for. What's people, what is their vision for Walpole in the future? What would they like it to be?
Well, that's where they had,
Yeah.
tax relief, new business, water protections, those are the top 4.
And those things are in here.
No, there's nothing in here ranked to say
No,
that.
but it tells you what people, key findings, it says what the feedback was.
This is not,
Jack, can I ask a question?
Each of the sections has a key findings part,
yeah, good for
like
that,
on
Phil.
page 47.
But no one's gonna, no. When you do a report like this, what are the top 4? Well, the top 2. What's the top 1? There's not even a top 1 here, so.
Well, of course, you always run into the thing of who picks the top one.
You go by you know how they did it last time? They all wrote in, and they checked them off, like voting. Tax relief, boom, 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 new business, water, whatever else. You know, everybody and they just ranked them all, and that's what they come up with, which everybody, I think today would still agree. Tax relief, new business, water protection, and school protection. So, you want to ask a question, Paul?
Yeah, Phil, I'm asking, was every town official, police chief, fire chief, town administrator, was everyone interviewed?
They interviewed all department heads. I don't have a list to know who that was.
So, and again, I'm just,
Yeah, so
you being the chair, where was the checks and balances to see, okay, who went to, I'm sure at the time it was Chief Bailey, right? Who went to Chief Bailey? Who went to, obviously, at the time, Chief Carmichael? Who went to these figureheads to get their perspective, for the town?
Yeah, so...
And did somebody confirm that actually somebody sat with them and picked their brain?
Well, there was not, no one did that, but the consultant company
why wouldn't, and again, I'm not trying to fight, I'm trying to ask, just because I understand the process. Why wouldn't they have been included? The consulting company, I guess is what you're saying. Why wouldn't the consulting company go to our town officials?
They did go to our town officials.
So Carmichael was interviewed?
Well, so,
but you don't say,
two
you say
different
you
things.
don't know, but...
I know they went to all the department heads, but I was not...
Confirmed.
What?
Confirmed.
Well, that's what they said.
So
So
it's
we didn't
all-
go through a list of who did you talk to, when did you talk to them.
But that's what I'm saying, so it
Yeah.
doesn't sound like anybody held, is it the consulting company who would have done these interviews?
Yes.
Yes, the consulting company would have done these interviews,
The
correct?
consultant, yes, that was
All right.
one of the big issues in the very beginning. When the contract started, they asked permission to go talk to department heads before the committee was appointed.
Okay.
And this committee said, no, we didn't.
What's that got to do with what these questions?
Well, I'm just explaining that,
And nothing, but.
yeah.
I'm just trying to
Yeah,
understand,
so-
this consulting company seems to get worse and worse by the moment as we unpeel the onion here, that,
No.
nobody held them accountable to confirm, all right, I use the word to confirm, that they actually carried out interviews with our town officials. And to even, like I say, if you included the footnote saying, hey, this was from, Chief Carmichael, this was from Chief Bailey at the time of the interview, even if that wasn't included, but somebody should have documentation that, where did you get all your analysis and information from, from the consultants? So somebody should have raw notes somewhere on how this whole book was done. As I said, I don't know what this should include or what should include. I kind of think, like Jack, more like it should have a purpose, right? Here are the things that we're trying to solve in the
But
town.
there's
over the next
there is
20
a
years.
purpose in the, you have to read the beginning sections. You can't just look at the end, the recommendations.
Okay.
So for each of the,
Unnamed source, how's that? That's a new thing we see all the time.
Well, again, Phil, I'm just concerned, I don't feel, all right, that every town official's point of view was included. That's just gut feeling.
and when you say that, is that because you think something's missing, or you're just suspicious that they wouldn't do it?
I think the
You know,
public safety.
I'll say it, I don't think they talked to him.
is
I'll say it right out, let
perfect
them come
example.
sue me. Guarantee they didn't talk to him, this is all
What's
made up.
there to sue? I mean, it's just, I'm
Oh,
just
is
saying.
it that I'm accusing them of not doing their job?
No,
Somebody hired a
the
very-
consulting company? I mean, this is the same person that we can't get to,
She's too busy.
I mean, to me, Phil, I mean, I guess we're asking you questions, not trying to accuse you of anything, because you were the chair, right?
I don't think it's in any way.
And it should-
I want to be very clear, by the way, there was a committee of 13 people.
No, I see.
Yeah. So-
But you were the head of the committee, right?
I was head of the committee,
Okay,
I said
no,
I'll
no,
take
I see that.
responsibility.
But here's the thing, I think the frustration, though, Phil, isn't necessarily with you specifically, Phil. It's like, this is why I think that having this person, this consulting company in front of us to ask these questions. Did you do this? Did you go here? Did you say this? Because you're answering on behalf of the consulting company what you believe to be true.
What
There was
he
no
was
checks.
told.
What
What he was
you were
told.
told, right? There was no checks and
So
balances.
I think that these comments, and I have to say this because I think, I feel bad, Phil, that I think you think these are commented directed at
They're
you.
not, they should know, they're
They're
not.
not directed at
Well,
you.
first of all-
And I think what they're saying, if I could give my interpretation of what I'm hearing, is that it's the product. It's not that they're,
Yeah.
it's not that, like, when they ask those questions, those aren't directed at you or me or the committee. We were the lay people who volunteered, who are not experts in master plan. We were charged with a subject matter and broke into our committees and addressed our subject matters, and then we would meet and discuss it. So we weren't the quote-unquote experts, we were doing what we were given to do.
Well, each of the first people on the committee was an expert or had an interest in each of the areas.
No, I
They
understand,
were
but
representative
I don't
of town
think their
boards
problem
and
is
town
with that.
bodies.
That's,
So-
I think it's very important that we, correct me if you're wrong, because it's your comments, but I don't feel these comments are directed towards the committee in any way, or the people who are volunteering their time.
No.
It's a
I-
situation of they're just saying what they think
But let's be
compared to the
clear.
last one.
The committee was comprised of people from different boards.
I don't think
and
this has
different-
anything to do with the
Well,
committee.
sure it does, because those people represented a certain expertise and knowledge of the town.
But have you,
So-
But
collectively...
we didn't put, the
No.
committee didn't
But-
put this together.
but hold-
We did not put this together. We,
I was just going to say, but...
we
All due respect, you
answered
weren't-
questions, gathered material, gave information. I think that's what you're missing, is that
You're
they're
not the master plan subject expert.
We did not
right?
compile
Have you
it.
ever done a master plan yourself personally?
No, but.
No, okay, no. So the answer, well, hold on.
But that's
No.
besides
And
the
how about the other
fact.
12?
No,
Hold
wait,
on,
wait.
Phil, hold on.
Wait.
Let me answer the questions, please, if
Yeah.
I can. Right? You've never put a master plan
But
together.
that's irrelevant. I'll tell you why.
Wait, hold on. Do you have, how about the other 12 people?
I don't know.
Because you're talking about subject
I
matter
don't
experts, and
know
I'm like, I don't know what they're a subject matter expert. So now we hire this consulting company who's supposed to be the subject matter expert on putting a master plan together. And, I mean, we're picking this thing apart here, Phil. And again,
Well, but what are the things you're picking up? But most of them are not that, I think the basic thing about the plan
I
is
think
what is
you're
recommended.
taking it too defensively.
So you can, no, but you can, I mean, let's put it this way.
It's not trying to attack it, that's
The
all.
people, everybody on the master plan had as a task to read the committee members and give input. Now, during the debates and discussions, the consultants came forward with recommendations based on the input that they got when they did the surveys. They talked to whoever they talked to. They talked to us. They talked to
Whoever they talk to, but that's what I'm saying.
they talked
Okay.
to the town department heads.
Confirmed.
Well, leave that out because I'm just telling you what the process worked.
Okay.
Okay. So
I'm getting stressed.
So-
I need candy. Go ahead.
Okay, now, I'm going through this, okay?
Yeah.
And all I did is pull this crap out of it. Here's a notation, Walpole Police Department annual report. Town of Walpole, annual report. Oh, boy, did they really stretch. CBC Consulting, Town of Walpole, Fire, all these reports. CD McGuire, okay? That's all they did. They pulled out reports. I'm looking here. Here's one that gets me. The inadequacies of the east and south stations for the fire department. Hinder the fire department from meeting industry standards. All right? Wow. 'Cause this is what you read every day, but you don't ever read, you look for the bottom. Who said it? There's nobody in here that said it. They don't attribute this. Someone just said it's no good. All right? Did the fire department say it's no good? Doesn't say. Somebody decided it's no good. That would be something you might want to put in here, I would think. Moving on to another one, the food pantry. That was another one. They go in a nice thing about the food pantry, but they didn't attribute anything in here to anybody. The only thing they have at the bottom here is Baker Polito Administration Awards. There's nothing to say where they got this info from.
Well, a lot of the information came from looking at town reports that
Why didn't they get that, but there's nobody to the food, they don't even attribute anything to the food pantry. Well, what reports? They should have at least put it in there, but they don't even put that in here. The only thing they got on these 2 pages is Polito Baker and something about mental health and the American community. They don't, it's all, there is not one name in here. The other thing that was done on the 2004, because I was around for that, they went and saw the building department, the DPW, what are your priorities? Because they all have priorities. They go to DPW highway, what are your priorities? The park, boom, boom, boom. The school department, boom, boom, boom. They gave them a list, that got into there. All right, that's what they did. You want to know what you need to do. These are the people who should be telling you. Yeah, I mean, if your group, it's kind of like, I want to build a house. I'm a cook, so, yeah, okay, but if I'm the designer, I gotta make sure I do it right. It's not up to me to know that it has to be 110 volt here and this and that. I know what I want, but I'm not, this doesn't have one person's name or department or anything who they talk to. All right, and the other thing that really gets my keister is this thing here. I read it, and it's like, what is this? I could take Walpole out and I could put Medfield, Norwood, I could put,
That's-
Los Angeles.
That's hiring any consultant these days.
Yeah, but this is
It's a
all
format
right.
they go by. And the perfect example of that
This is BS.
is at one of our last meetings, one of our members, under the health section, said, can we take out Medfield State and New England Sinai? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that showed you that it was
But here's an action item.
from another town.
7A.4, pursue safer routes to school infrastructure and funding. Elements, transportation, responsibility, community economic, level of complexity, easier, timeframe, near term, I don't even know what near term means. Town staff, the vote, okay? All right, now, is pursue safe routes? That's,
So for each,
I agree, but do we have ones that aren't safe, or do we have ones that are all safe? What is it? What does it relate to Walpole, not just this broad brush?
so that was, all of these were discussed by the committee, and all of these.
So the committee screwed up, okay, thank you.
No, I don't feel the committee screwed up anything.
I'm just telling you
They
that,
put a lot of time in and work hard.
But this does, Phil, there's no, upgrade the crosswalks in the town. All right, that's fine. What crosswalks? If you identified, I'd be 100% behind this. This is just a broad brush. Everything is like what you should do. Consider two families by right in general residence. Okay, yeah, but,
so,
but it's, a lot of these are just nothing. Repurpose some street on-us parking for seasonal outdoor dining.
that
All
one
right.
came from me, by the way.
Okay?
And so, we did have some specifics on a lot of these, but the thought was
But there is not.
to not be so specific and let the town board or the town administration or whoever is responsible for that to actually come up with the specific ideas, because it's not intended to be necessarily, this is everything you're gonna do, because things change so rapidly. So that may be a philosophical difference, Jack, on.
Phil, I would like, if you said you're gonna fix East and High Plain, okay, good, that's great. Or here's what they, the DPW said they gotta, boom, 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 boom. This is just a broad brush statement. All right, develop wayfind signage plan. Okay,
But what would you want that to say?
for East Walpole, central business, somewhere, specifically where it's needed. This is like the wish list of nothing, though. Make safety improvements at high crash and congested intersections. Okay, then we should add a list. Here they all are. We don't have that, do we?
Actually, I can't remember if that's in here now, but.
Well, it's
but
right
in
here,
that-
it's
but-
7:30.
No, but when you read under the section, so there's a number of sections which go through a lot more detail on.
Phil, if you had gone and they give you the list, I would say, yeah, that's great. This is your top list, and yeah, we gotta fix these intersections, boom, boom, boom. At least people see. There's nothing in here to see.
So who picked the consultant?
I can speak to that.
Not us.
So there was a committee, I was on that, and we only had two. We sent it out for bid, and we only had 2 responses.
Yep.
And we did a rubric when we interviewed them. And the interviews were during COVID, so it was remote. And they came in within like a point of each other. And I'll tell you, the kicker for me
different from online,
was that the
I don't
first
know.
applicant
I'm going,
was the
that's a
second
surprise to me,
applicant.
actually. I didn't look
Really?
at it.
So we chose
Yeah.
the second
I don't
applicant. I don't know if
know.
that's,
I'll
we
take
didn't
a look.
choose them for that reason, the
Yeah.
rubric
Yeah,
resulted.
it's like, who's
But
page
for me,
one?
that was
Because
a
it
big
should have been-
eye-opener.
I
It made
know,
me
the
worried
pages
about.
It should have been
the first
identical, yeah. The only thing that I did is I had them update
But there were only
the
2.
the beginning page.
If I get a shot, I'll do is I'll look. You start
At the
here,
time, there was a
you go
question of whether
online,
we
and
should
see,
go back out
there's
to
gonna be a
bid
blip
or-
somewhere that all of a sudden
Why
just
wouldn't it?
screw
But,
this.
you
If
know,
something got
this
inserted,
consulting
taken
firm had a
out,
good
so,
reputation
okay.
and has done a
Yeah,
lot
I don't know, that surprised me, actually.
Really, this is from,
from what we were told.
So,
but have we checked reviews since then?
I have no idea. I have not.
Is any, my view is, you know, we went through all, if you haven't, write them up, bring them back next time so we can, and see what needs to be done or whatever, so, because I know mine, because I couldn't even do it with the pages, I have to get those back in sync, so.
Okay.
All right?
So that's the next section.
Yeah, we can pick it up next time.
Yeah, but so let me bring up the meeting with Judy Barrett. So, she sent back a letter, and did we respond to that letter?
No.
So,
It's her letter.
Her letter basically ignored everything I said we're gonna do, and she said she's gonna do it her way. I don't respond to people like that, especially when you're paying people. She said, I said, this is how we're gonna do it, boom, 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 and she sent her own letter and says, this is the way I wanna do it. Oh, okay, thank you. It doesn't, it shouldn't even acknowledge mine, that's the other thing. She just went on her own. So
well,
this is-
she did acknowledge, she was answering your letter.
She didn't answer, she just said, this is what's gonna be done. I'm not coming, was one of them, we're doing a Zoom, and so on and so forth, so it didn't deserve an answer. I think everybody got it, or not, did they, Kate, you know? Yeah. So,
So my concern though, Jack, is that, and I certainly would love to have her come as well, but I don't, if we should get this report out, we owe it to the town and the committee, so it just feels like in limbo. The way we're going, it's gonna be a whole year since the committee approved it.
no.
The committee approved it on,
Next time we're here, and everybody thinks this is okay, that's what she'll have to make those corrections, and that'll be it, right?
so, and we won't have her come and speak.
No, we'll send them to her to make the corrections
okay.
when they're all in there.
When did the committee approve it? September?
No, I thought you said October, no, that was 22. You said you had to change one date, was that October 22?
Oh, that was a different thing, yeah, so.
That wasn't
so-
23, right?
Wasn't it September 12th?
So the committee approved it September 12th. Yeah, so it's not a year, but it's just been going on for too long.
If we can get it all together,
Yeah.
and we throw everybody's together, send it off to her, she can redo it in a draft form.
Yeah, it's been going on for a long time. We had 5 months with no peep. Really, like, I think we need to adjourn because this conversation is not productive. Let's not talk about the length. Let's just move on.
What do you want to do now?
I want to adjourn.
We got more stuff.
What do we have? We have nothing.
I still have a half a bottle of wine left.
Yeah.
No, but I'm making a plea, I just want to move this on so we get it to approve. So Jack, yeah, so we can make all we can put together the list of changes.
And send it to her, and she can make those changes. And shouldn't be that hard, is listing all the people she talked to, and have that in the back, and get a list of if you get a list of everybody's
Yeah,
school and all that they already have their lists. They have to have them, and that gets incorporated in here.
I'm not sure she's going to put new information in, where she said she would do is
Okay.
fix
So I
problems.
have
God, I'd like to be able to say,
No, I have
you're
a
hiring me,
question,
I'm
and
telling
maybe
you what
it's
I'm
you,
doing.
because you're an IT guy, so let's have a question. We're not gonna revamp what's been done,
Oh, you put them at the end.
but from the conversation we're having, tweaks need to be made,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, because we have the majority of the plan formatted, do we need her to tweak it? Is it something we can tweak?
No, we don't want to do that.
I
I've
mean-
done that before, if you get an issue.
I mean, depending on the format that she wrote it in, I mean, certainly, I mean, how did it come to you, PDF?
Who's going to
You're
get all that information?
you're not going to tweak this easily, because, yes,
Not
I'm just
Yeah, that
asking,
information.
Yeah,
I'm not.
I was able to do a
I'm
couple
I'm
things.
just asking, how did it come?
It's a PDF, I did a
Yeah,
couple
that's how-
things.
Yeah.
That's how we got it.
You're not gonna
That's
get
how we
everybody.
From
Yeah, because
Jen.
she did it in
telling you,
InDesign, I
you're not
think
gonna
it
get
was.
Was it? Okay.
So then they could generate a PDF, and as you know, to do that, you get a whole lot of little pieces.
Yep.
And then you can't move things around, and,
Well, you can edit a PDF, though.
well,
You can edit a PDF.
you can, but if the box in the PDF isn't big enough to add a paragraph,
Right.
you know,
Yeah, you gotta be
the
careful.
pagination, everything will be off, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not a form.
You can convert it to Word, yeah.
Yeah, you can.
But I don't, let me just say that I don't want to lose sight of the recommendations. Maybe, there are,
The general recommendation.
Can I ask something, Phil?
Yeah.
I only because it's just striking, right? I mean, I know you being the head of the committee are pushing for it because of your work and all that you did. I look at Katie, who's on the committee.
The committee those people on that committee put a lot of time and
I'm not,
effort in.
I'm not, just,
Yeah.
no, please, I don't, I'm not saying that, I'm saying, but I don't, would all 13 people be in unanimous that this is ready for prime time?
the committee voted on September.
That this was ready for prime time? This was ready to go?
We did.
Everybody
Well,
voted?
well, the people who were at that meeting voted.
I feel that it was so long and drawn out,
That everybody gave up?
and the meetings were so long, that honestly, everyone's ready to move on.
Oh, that's the other thing. It doesn't look good when you have a 13-person committee, you get votes of 8-0, 7-0.
But
All the way through, mostly
I mean,
7-0.
you couldn't start, like, it's a situation of everyone is ready to move on. I mean, you couldn't start it over, you couldn't start rehashing the whole thing. It's not, and we gave input, we worked on, giving important information. We didn't put it together.
No,
You
but
know,
we-
and there were comments made, so like, my notebook, you know me and my notebooks,
Yes,
right?
yeah,
For every
absolutely.
group I'm on, I have a darn notebook. And I was like, looking through it, I don't have my glasses on, so this is not gonna be pretty, but, one of the members said, like, at the April 4th meeting, one of the members said, it doesn't look at the reality. So I guess we're just gonna look at it as an aspirational goal. Like, this is what I mean, we were all coming to terms with, okay, this is the way it's gonna be done.
So now, what was that in regard to probably the historical recommendations?
So leave it as is, and then,
Because,
this meeting was a situation of, it was all like, lots of typos, fonts differ, format's not consistent.
yeah, most of
who
those
would-
things were fixed.
Okay, but
So, but I don't want,
But what I'm trying to say is, I'm trying to show the level of,
frustration.
tired, let's put it that way. Everyone was tired and done.
I-
And they weren't tired and done with their work. Their work was quality work.
I understand that.
But it was time. It had to go to the next level.
but are you saying the recommendations that we came out with aren't good then, Katie?
No, but I see what Jack is saying when he says they should be more specific, pointing towards specifics.
Okay.
I
But
do,
the committee was in full control of that.
Okay, let me ask you. So Kate, someone came up with this one on your committee?
but she
Someone
gave us
came up-
guidance. Like, she
Yeah,
gave
so-
us guidance.
Yeah, she
It
gave
wasn't
this,
that-
she's pre-printed.
As Paul asked, and this is me sitting, so we've been away from it a long time. So like, when I sat and reviewed it just recently, I looked at it in a different light because you've put it away, you
Yeah,
pull it out, you
pull it
look
out.
at it differently. And I think, even if you do that with something, like I'll do that with something I've written, if you look at it, you're like, oh, I could have worded that better.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So, and you're your own biggest critic, at least I am. So I look at it, and I looked at things and I said, this could be better, that could be better. I had a whole lot more comments than I gave tonight, but I said, they're not that big a deal. But when I sit and listen to the outside comments, I think some of Jack's comments were very valid. I think when Paul said, when Paul said about the Lions, like, I hadn't thought of that, because we don't do this for a living, Phil. We do not put master plans together. But Walpole's a community where, and I say this because I'm on a lot of groups, and Walpole's a community where our groups, our charitable groups, make such a huge difference in what our town is. I mean, they really do. They make Walpole what Walpole is. If you look at all the charitable groups and how they help and how they add to the community.
It's the St.
So,
Patrick, I mean,
like,
nobody's,
that's something I never even thought of until Paul said it tonight. So what I'm trying to say is, do I think it could be much better? Absolutely. Do I think that I gave up? Absolutely. absolutely. It was a frustrating process. And it was a situation of, you'd ask for something, and the response from the hired consultant would be, not gonna happen.
I'm not sure what you're talking about on that regard,
Yeah,
Katie.
yeah, well, so maybe it's because I don't know, maybe it's because of, you know, the type of business I work in every day, and how that's never an answer that I would give or receive at work. That's not gonna happen. Like, you'd say, well, we can't do it this way, can we do it this way, or can we find a way to do it, or, I just, so, so to get to the answer, no, I'm not saying that this is bad, but I'm saying, could it be better? Absolutely.
But what are we trying-
And
are we
it's
trying-
not the committee's fault.
So,
But can I just ask, as the planning board, is our job is to vote on this?
Yeah.
Eventually.
typically, planning boards vote on it, they don't go and make a lot of changes to it.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
I see
whoa,
it, but
where
let
did
me
that
ask you
come
something,
from?
but-
That's, no. It's under the planning board.
It's under the plan, sure, but
What do you typically, how many of these you
Can I,
done, Phil?
can I continue with my thought here?
Yeah.
So our goal, so again, I like to, what's the goal? What's the North Star, right? The North Star is we're going to vote on this, right?
The
And
only-
the vote on is to
the
say we
only-
accept.
The only town board or committee or administrative or, legislative body has to vote on this is the planning board.
Okay.
That's the only one.
And I'm voting on what? That I approve that is a good plan?
You are voting on, yes, accepting the plan.
And if I don't think that that's a good plan, Phil, and I say no, and then Katie doesn't feel like it's a good plan, she says no, and Jack doesn't think it's a good plan, he says no.
That would be terrible, because we've spent a whole lot of time and money.
I understand that, but here's the thing, Katie, no, all due respect, again, it's not a slap in the face for those that did the work, okay? But I think we had some bad actors in here, it mixed into some good people.
Let's be
Hold on,
careful when we
Phil,
say
hold on,
that,
hold on.
because, no, but the committee was involved in this.
It's not the committee.
Phil, I have not mentioned a damn thing about the committee.
Yeah, well,
I
know.
have
well,
not.
but
I keep going after the person that was, the person who was in charge, which is the consultant.
Well, I was the chair of that committee.
Okay.
And, no, but the committee could have asked the
I mean, are you
consultant.
listening to the comments that Katie has been saying? On this meeting, so-and-so said this, on this meeting,
but wait,
so-and-so said
let's
this.
put that all in context now. I know.
Phil, listen, you're the
Watch the
chair
tape.
of the committee, Phil.
Yes.
Listen to the committee's
Watch the
thing,
No, but
okay? This is what I'm saying, Phil, you're not listening.
Katie's one person.
Kate, you are not listening. Listen. 2 ears, listen. Don't defend, listen.
I'm just out here.
You're not listening.
I am listening.
Then
I disagree
What
with
are we
you.
trying to say? What are we trying to say to you?
You're trying to say that it was bad actors and it was the consultant that made it, that you just said. And that the committee, and that the committee doesn't really know how to do master plans.
No, he didn't say that.
Well, that's right.
No,
that's
the bad actors, I think you're referring to, Paul, if I may, was our consultant.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
She, if we're still on, I got a lot of words.
Oh, then whatever.
I would have fired her
It-
butt
we're-
first meeting when she
yeah.
come in and says, I'm not doing this.
This
Okay.
is a
take it-
recorded meeting, right?
take it, go
I'm
on.
not mentioning
Whoa.
anybody, I'm just saying, but that was the subject matter expert. I said this earlier.
Yeah.
You weren't the subject matter expert, because I asked you personally,
I'm not-
did you
I'm
ever
not
put a
trying to
master
be-
plan
I'm not trying
together?
to be the subject matter.
Okay, well then, so take you out of it because you are not a subject matter expert. So who was the subject matter expert?
But what I'm trying to get to is so the recommendations, which the committee spent all the time discussing and voting on, is the most important part of the plan.
But it
Now,
feels
I
like.
actually thought they did a good job
Okay.
in
But the
whole-
summarizing.
And I think they did, and I think that, but I said, they brought information.
They did, and
Okay.
that's what we paid them for.
No, hold on, no. The committee, Katie and
yes.
and 11 other people brought information, they brought guidance, they brought knowledge of the town of Walpole.
Yes.
And if I've asked, outside of you, because you were the chair, okay, and I've asked every one of them and say, do you feel that your voice and your thought for Walpole for the next 20 years, do you think that that's captured in this document?
I don't
What
want
do you think I would get? What do you think the
I don't
vote?
want to answer for other people, and I
I
don't think
think
Well,
anyone.
I'm
that's
saying,
the
I
same.
would ask them, Phil, I'm not going to assume what they're going to say,
No, but-
Phil, I'm not taking any assumptions. I would physically ask them, hardcore, yes or no. Katie, do I get a yes or no?
I
Okay.
think they would say yes, because they did a good job, and they
It's a
are ready
reflection
to
on
move
it.
on.
Hold on, but that's not what I'm,
And
but
We
that's not what I'm
paid-
asking.
We paid a lot of money for this to be,
But that's not what I'm
Produced.
asking. If I say, Katie, all the information and all your knowledge, okay, for all the committees you've been on, is it reflected in this document? And I'm not going to ask you, you don't have to answer that, but that's the question you would ask. That's not any reflection of you as a committee member.
oh, I'm not taking any of this personally.
Thank you, that's all. You know, and it's not an attack.
And I think a lot of the committee would defend it, and
I try to put myself
I'm
as a
not-
townsperson, a
I
town of
think this is,
Walpole.
I think it's a better, I think it's actually a good report. It's missing some things, and maybe some things should have been done differently, but you have to look at the recommendations, and
Okay?
Well, as you said to me, Phil.
all right,
as
so
you said
I
to
think
me,
we
So
should
if
just
it-
tweak it. I don't think we should throw,
So the recommendation, so basically, we got 10,000 recommendations the town should go forward with.
102 recommendations.
Yeah, okay, and they're all number one. All right, so now I know that. There's something I would, I figure out where the pages went. So, all right. I like this stuff, so you guys may not, but everybody all done?
Some people
Seems like-
kind of
I was
pushing
done
under the
20
rug.
minutes ago.
Yeah, but you have stamina. You kept up. You were ready to give up with a mile to go. You were ready at Heartbreak Hill, but
Jack,
you
you
came
sh-
over Heartbreak Hill
You
and
know I never give up.
sprinted home.
Yeah, I
All right,
never
I'll make
give
a
up.
motion to adjourn.
Wait,
Nope.
what are we doing with this?
We already have.
Next
Oh,
week,
the next,
meeting,
we
bring
have to
in-
have, we gotta,
To the
right,
next agenda?
Yeah.
yes, yes.
So wait, before we adjourn, so Jack, do we want to have other committee members attend?
No.
And have,
Why? What do they need to attend for? To what, defend something? Everything I pointed out is very simple. Other than you go on your climate change rant and I go on mine, but other things like having the names of people in there who they interviewed, that's kind of having a list of every school department wish and everything else. That's not something that they can comment one way or another. I mean, that's something that I think needs to be in there.
Would the consulting company, Phil, be able to state, on this day at this time, they interviewed so-and-so?
I would have expect so. I mean, I can't answer for them because we haven't.
I was just asking, no, if you
Yeah.
knew that information. No, if you don't know, that's
I
fine.
don't know. No, I
Yeah,
don't
okay.
know.
That's
I
fine.
don't
No,
know.
no, that's
Yeah.
fine. I would,
I don't know.
that would be, if the consulting company was here, I would ask that. I would ask to see that information. A log of, right, like you said. Jack.
Anything in here, I don't care if it's a town or the Walpole
So
Food
they-
Pantry, anybody who's mentioned in here
Should have.
should have,
Well, a log of, I spoke to so-and-so on this day at this time, and so forth. You know, maybe a recording of the conversation, or
Whether- or
notes,
at least-
raw notes. Yeah.
give us, I would only settle for a list, that you talk to this group, you know, like the Walpole Food Pantry president, yeah, I talked to them, okay, that's fine, and then, but everybody should be identified in here, so it isn't like unnamed sources. I wish I could find
So
that.
a lot of the information came, so we don't want to exclude the work that they did to get input from the town residents.
Yeah, but town residents have nothing to do with the food pantry, what they do and how many people.
No, but I'm just saying, but a lot of, when you talk about where they're coming up with.
The fire
some-
department, East Walpole and South Walpole, had nothing to do with residents. We want the names of the people who were involved. Oh, I can't.
Well, I'm going to look at other town reports, because I don't know, how detailed any town report goes, a master plan goes into mentioning every name that they talk to, or,
Change the way.
I have.
Yeah, but each plan is individual for the town, so.
right,
it's not so much what
but
other
the
towns do,
methodology
what
of
do we
how you
want.
talk to people and you gather information.
Okay.
Surveys, were-
Made a motion to adjourn.
you could fill it out.
Second.
Second. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained?
Opposed.
Okay.
Have a good night, folks.
Now, just so everybody knows, is that we got another thing on the agenda next week, next time.